Are there people that you would just rather not be around, that maybe you would be even embarrassed if your friends saw you hanging out with them? Well, Jesus had a way of finding those people and seeking out opportunities to hang out and spend time with those people. Let's look at Matthew chapter 9, starting in verse 9. It says, as Jesus passed on from there, he saw a man called Matthew sitting at the tax booth, and he said to him, follow me. And he rose and followed him. So we're introduced here to a guy named Matthew. This happens to be the guy that we believe wrote this gospel account of Jesus' life. So Matthew was what's called a tax collector. And we've heard that term tax collector probably a ton of times. But what you need to realize is that the tax collector was hated by people around him. The tax collectors were seen as the worst of the worst. I want you to imagine something. I want you to imagine that America goes into this massive war with Russia, China, some big enemy country, and this enemy country conquers America. And then all of a sudden, one of your friends is like, okay, I'm going to go work for that conquering bad country, and I'm going to help them collect taxes from you guys. How would you like your friend? You wouldn't like them. You would be like, you're a traitor, you're a terrible person, because you're working for the enemy. That's what tax collectors were. The Romans had taken over the land of Israel. And so then Jews like Matthew had gone to work for the Romans to collect taxes for the Romans. So their friends and the people around them were like, you're a traitor, you're a terrible person who's working for our enemies. That's how they looked at tax collectors. They were unpopular, seen as the worst of the worst. But Jesus comes to him and he says, hey, follow me. Jesus invites Matthew to walk with him day by day and to live with him. Matthew, what does he do? He leaves everything and he follows him. Unlike a lot of the other people that Jesus had invited to follow him, and they figured that, all my stuff, all my comfort, all the things of this life are too much for me to give up to just go and follow you. Matthew follows him. Let's keep on reading in verse 10. And as Jesus reclined at table in the house, behold, many tax collectors and sinners came and were reclining with Jesus and his disciples. So it seems like Matthew follows Jesus and then he brings his friends. And Jesus is hanging out with all these people that are unpopular and that people would not want to be seen with. And the Pharisees question it. Verse 11, when the Pharisees saw this, they said to his disciples, why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners? The Pharisees, they would always avoid these sorts of people. They didn't want to be anywhere close to them because they thought they would make them look bad. They thought, these people are sinners, they're unclean. I want to be as far from that as I possibly can. But Jesus wasn't concerned with what people thought. Remember, Jesus isn't trying to win the approval of people. Jesus is concerned about the hearts of the people he was spending time with. He cares about the hearts of the sinners. So in verse 12, when he heard it, he said, those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. Go and learn what this means. I desire mercy and not sacrifice, for I came not to call the righteous, but sinners. So Jesus responds and says, hey, if you're not sick, you don't need a doctor. He's saying, I've come as a doctor to treat those that are sick. What is this sickness he's talking about? He's talking about our sin. And what the Pharisees didn't recognize is that they were sick too. All of us are sick with this disease of sin, and we desperately need treatment. We desperately need to be rescued from it. But Jesus says, hey, if you think you're good, if you don't think you're sick, the doctor's not going to come and help you out. But it's those people who know, I'm sick and I need someone. I need treatment. That's who the doctor goes to. And so Jesus is saying, I'm coming to treat those who are sick. I'm not coming to call the people who think they're all righteous like the Pharisees. I'm coming to call sinners. And he says, go and learn what this means. I desire mercy and not sacrifice. Jesus is criticizing the Pharisees for having all of these religious things they do, being perfect on when they do their sacrifices, when they perform these religious rituals, but ultimately not having mercy on those in need around them. Ultimately not seeing the people around them that needed to be healed from this sin in their hearts, and they wouldn't show mercy. Instead, they showed only judgment. Jesus didn't come to find all the good people that were good enough to be saved by him. Jesus came to find the people who were messed up, like Matthew and like you and like me, so that he could be glorified by showing them mercy. You need to know that whoever you are, whatever you've done, God wants to show you mercy. So listen to him and follow Jesus.